Hello, everybody, and welcome to another Lineup Lock show with the Sports Ethos crew. I am your host, Keith Cork, and I am joined today by Mr. Arnold Cadena, who has joined me in the past before. But I'm excited, man. I'm always happy to have somebody on here with me, so I'm not just like talking to a wall. Appreciate y'all checking in here. If you guys have any questions, please do hit us with it. Go ahead and hit us with a like and subscribe too. Let's just get that out of the way as well. So, anyways, let's go ahead and jump into it, man. We do have two games on this slate here, so a pretty small slate, Arnold. I'm looking here. The first game should be. No, I'm looking at the wrong thing here. I apologize. First game should be the Brooklyn Nets and the Sixers. And if you already have those odds up, you can let me know because I have to reload my sports book now.
I have Philadelphia -10, and that's going to be over to 11.5.
Okay, so 211.5 is the game total, and there we go. I've got it up now. There we go. -10. So yeah, looking at the spread here, it opened at -10. Looks like about 2 days ago, and it's been the same since then. Makes sense. I mean, I think, obviously the Sixers have to be favored here. I do know that Brewski, who's, the leader of the Sports Ethos, he's on the Nets to cover this spread here. And I tend to agree with him. I think it's going to be a closer game this time around than it was in the last one. I think Mikal Bridges, showed everyone what he was in that last game in game one. And he's going to continue to do that, Arnold. So, he's sitting at 7,700 on DK. I mean, he's a lock for me. I mean, that's just too cheap, right?
No, that's definitely too cheap. That guy can just put up a lot of points, and you've seen it before in the past in like Phoenix that Mikal has been able to just go out there and just take control of the game. And I think he just came over to Brooklyn and did exactly that. I think he's a lock, and I think he's cheap. You got to take advantage of those times that like these players are so low. I mean, you even have other players in the same realm like Spencer Dinwiddie at 7.2 that is always a shot for 10 assists and 20 points. We also have guys like Cam Johnson at 5.8. The playoff experience, they're gonna let these guys just go out there and just do what they got to do. And I'm kind of in it with Brewski. I don't expect a blowout. Don't expect a blowout at all.
Yeah, I think the Sixers are going to have one of those games where they just kind of like come out a little lackadaisical against this team and kind of let them hang around a little bit. I think this might be that game. 7,700 though, yeah. I mean, this is like the lowest price you've seen him for the last basically month. I mean, half a month, but 3 weeks or so. He's been basically in the mid 8,000s to 9,000. I mean, he is absolutely the offensive engine for the Nets. So, he's a very safe guy to take, but he's also got upside. I mean, he can absolutely score, 50 to 60 DK points any given night. And I know the Sixers are a tough defensive team, Arnold, but I do feel like that could be in play here for him to have one of those ceiling nights. So I'm all over him.
Definitely.
Yeah, I'm all over him. Another guy I'm looking at here heavily is Day'Ron Sharpe at 3,300. Obviously, I got about 20 minutes in the last game. I don't know if that's going to stick. We'll see about that. Let's see, you got about 17 minutes in the last game here. I don't know if that's going to stick necessarily, but one thing I am looking at is, what if Nick Claxton gets into foul trouble? They're obviously going to go to Day'Ron Sharpe. I wasn't expecting them to play him any minutes, honestly, in game one, so that was kind of a shock to me to see him in the rotation. So sounds like you're not necessarily on Day'Ron, but how are you feeling about these Nets? Anyone else you're looking at?
No, definitely. I mean, I'm all for the Day'Ron talk, honestly, because you have to throw someone out there. I mean, you can't just let Joel Embiid just feast on these smaller guys. You're gonna have to throw either Claxton and Day'Ron. So that's just a big brain move, honestly. On like if Claxton were to get into foul trouble, I mean, who else you got out there? You're not gonna throw anybody else. You're not gonna put Royce on him. So I love that. That's a great play, honestly. At 3.3, that's a bunch of value, and he did get the minutes. And I was trying to figure out like who else can really contend. And there isn't anybody else who can contend.
I was expecting them to go a little bit different. They've got Yuta Watanabe out there. I was expecting them to go a little bit small ball here. I didn't expect because Day'Ron Sharpe's been in and out of the rotation, but again, that did surprise me in game one that they threw him out there kind of to the Wolves. But it makes sense. I mean, like you said, it's Embiid out there. That's their main guy you're trying to stop. So yeah, I think Day'Ron at 3,300 is an absolute smash play. Obviously, Seth Curry at 3,200. His price fell a little bit. He didn't have that game I was hoping for in the last one, but they did play him 16 minutes. So, I mean, that's right in line with what I was expecting as far as like, the time on the floor. And he was on fire. I mean, 4 or 5 from the field, 2 or 3 from the 3-point line. They just didn't give him as many minutes and didn't have any really like supporting stats. So, am I crazy for going back to the well on that one? Or is there someone else you like that on this entire slate that's in that price range that's got more upside than Seth Curry?
Not crazy at all. I had already locked him in. I think Seth's gonna have a great game. He's the thing is the first half of the Brooklyn game, they were still competing. And the second half is when everything fell
Yeah,
off and everything went downhill. But they were still competing. And the thing is, if Brooklyn is continuing to compete, their bench is going to produce, and Seth Curry is going to be the guy that's going to be behind the offense
right.
that's going to produce for them. I think Seth is a great play. He has playoff experience, and he knows how to run this team, at least the second unit, and he has been doing it, and we've seen him do it for the last couple of years with Brooklyn. So, no, I'm 100% with it. And 3.2, I mean, if you want to go for these bigger guys like Embiid at 10.6 or Sabonis at 9.3, you have to take a little bit of a hit. But I think Curry has the most potential out of that whole second unit to just hit.
And I did want to. I forgot to. I skipped on the game total here, which did open at 215. It's gone down to 211.5. So people are on the under there. Looks like we're about 211, 211.5 on most books. So kind of a low game total. Obviously, I think a lot of that is baked into the fact that a lot of people are assuming this is going to be a blowout, though, and that's what happened in the last game. Like you said, it was the third quarter that really just kind of buried the Nets. And then the fourth quarter, about 5-6 minutes left in the game, they kind of pulled everybody. It just kind of conceded at that point. So, it is what it is, but that does also affect the lines. Like we're talking about Seth Curry right now, he only got 16 minutes in that last one. But if this is a close game, he's probably seeing upwards of 20 to 22 minutes. So I do like him at a play there at 3,200. Absolutely. On the other side of the ball, if we're predicting this to be, a close game here, Arnold, got to have interest in Joel Embiid, right?
You have to. Yeah, no, you have to. This guy's the best player that's going to be on this floor tonight, and you have to just put him in sometimes. But there are a couple lineups that I don't have him in. I
Okay.
am the ownership's going to be up there,
Yeah.
and I do have a couple of the guys that I would rather go with, and especially at 10.6. But if you're going to be playing in those smaller ones, and you have some other sneaky plays like a Seth Curry, like a Daron Sharp, you could definitely take that swing at Joel.
Yeah, I have some other contrarian plays, so I'm definitely got Joel on my lineups here. But there are other guys that we can definitely talk about here. Also, there's D'Anthony Melton at 4,500. I'm looking at on the Sixers. I think that was maybe your call last time, or maybe it was Lee's call. I can't remember who it was, but somebody called him as a good play. He had a pretty decent line in the last game, and again, a lot of those fourth quarter guys getting minutes in the fourth quarter didn't play. He had 20.25 DK points in 22 minutes. Probably if it's closer, he's 25 to 28 minutes, somewhere in that range. 2 of 9 from the field, 2 of 7 from 3. So he didn't shoot the ball well and still put up a pretty decent line. And he only had 1 steal too. And we know this guy can put up defensive stats in a hurry as well. So this is another guy I'm heavily looking at on the Philadelphia side. But are you like so on those lineups where you're not doing Joel Embiid? Are you going James Harden? Who are you looking at on the Sixers squad?
Tyrese. I really like Tyrese in this one, man.
Fair enough.
I don't think he took as many shots as he should have. Tobias got the rock, and he was able to shoot, and he got over, 21 points. And we don't see Tyrese averaging 21. I'm sorry, we don't see Tobias averaging 21, but Tyrese has, or can, and will, one day, even if down the line and all that. But this is definitely something that Tyrese can do. Tyrese can take some more shots, and Brooklyn's giving up a lot of 3-pointers, a lot of points to the opposing shooting guard positions. And if Brooklyn wants to stop Joel, they're going to have to double team him. Other guys are going to have to get involved. I think that's the point where Tyrese Maxey is going to have to take that step forward. He's at 6.7. I think that's a really good play, and I also don't think the ownership's going to be high on him.
And kind of neglecting FanDuel a little bit here. Joel is 11.4 on FanDuel. I do have him there, but obviously that price tag's a little bit elevated. D'Anthony Melton 4,600, so very similar. Daron Sharp's 4,300. Honestly, I don't feel like he's a great play there. I did end up with him in my lineup, but he is a little bit elevated in the price tag, so I'm not super into him there. And you were talking about Tyrese Maxey. He's 6,800 on FanDuel. That's a smash play, in my opinion. I think that's a really good play. So I like that call a lot, especially for FanDuel. All right, let's move on, though. We are up to about 10 minutes left, 10:42 left here until lock. We do have the Warriors and the Kings, which is the much more exciting game, I feel like, on the slate, regardless of what happens in that first game. Obviously, the spreads jumped around a lot here. It opened up as a 1-point favorite in favor of the Kings, and now they are suddenly 2.5-point underdog. So there's a huge jump in that line. People are jumping all over the Warriors, which doesn't surprise me. But at the same time, man, this Kings team, they are for real. We were just talking about before we came on here. They are a talented team. I think people are definitely sleeping on this Kings team. So just give me your general thoughts on the Kings there.
Yeah, so I mean, addressing the spread, the one thing about it is that the losing team usually comes in with a little bit more energy in the second game after coming after a loss, especially in a big game like this. So I definitely see why the spread has gone that way. I see the narrative that Curry might just go in and just take 25 shots and just try to win this one solo. I also see where the whole team goes crazy, but um, I like I like Curry in this one. On the Warrior side, and I have a couple lineups that I'm running Clay in because I just think this might just be a 3-point shootout. I think they're just going to try to go back and forth and back and forth, and there's a reason why the line's so high because both of these teams can score.
Yeah. Speaking of that total, it's 240. It did tick down a little bit to 239.5 here before lock, it looks like, but I still think it's going to be a barn burner. And it's just interesting you mentioned the 3-point shootouts. DraftKings actually has a promo. The sportsbook has a promo right now of Steph and Clay to shoot hit 9 or more 3-pointers at plus 100 odds. And so I was considering that. I think it's a pretty good bet, honestly. I do think it's going to be quite a 3-point shootout. But yeah, Steph Curry is a guy that I'm heavily looking at as well. Especially with the bounce back type of game and the narratives there, obviously as well. He had a pretty decent game in the first one, but he didn't go supernova, and he's going to go supernova in one of these games, and in this series. I mean, it's just going to happen. Nobody on the Kings is going to shut down Steph Curry. Although I will say Davion Mitchell did a very fantastic job for the minutes that he was in there. But other than that, I think everyone else, they did a good job of making him, take his second or third choice in shots, but they didn't shut him down, but not by any means. So I think Steph Curry is a very safe play as well. Wiggins, I mentioned him on the last lock, but his price actually fell a little bit, 6,500 to 6,100. I'm sorry, 6,100 to 5,900. So he's actually a little cheaper here on DraftKings now. And hey, man, he got 16 shot attempts in 28 minutes in that first game. So I love Wiggins here. How are you feeling?
He went 1 from he went 1 from 8 out of 3.
Yeah,
and the thing is, he's not gonna go 1 for 8 every single time. He's just getting his legs back. He's getting the whole rhythm back, and that's why he's not starting right now. That's why Dante's in the starting lineup. But he gets a couple shots to fall, and his line looks a lot better. And you could say that for a lot of other people on the other side of the ball too. There's one guy that I really like on Sacramento side, and it's Kevin Herter. I mean, he didn't shoot the ball that well either, but he took a bunch of shots.
Yeah,
he's going to keep on taking a bunch of shots, and I mean, so is Andrew Wiggins if they give him the opportunities. And the thing is, they're going to find spots for Andrew Wiggins to shoot, whether it be in the corner, top of the key. They're going to find it, and he's going to get his rhythm. I think Andrew Wiggins is a great play. And we'll talk a little more about Kevin Herter later on, but as far as the Warrior side and everything, I think Andrew Wiggins is a great play.
Yeah, Wiggins I love, Curry I love. I've also got on the Warriors side, not on DraftKings. I think, let's see, what's his price on DraftKings here? Let me see if I can find that. It's 3,800 actually, so it's okay on DraftKings. But on FanDuel, where the minimum pricing is 3,500, he's just 3,900. It's Jonathan Kuminga, who did end up getting, I think, 10 minutes in that last game. 9 minutes, 9 to 10 minutes, somewhere in that range. But a guy that if Draymond's struggling out there, it's a guy they will throw in there quite a bit. So he's got a bit of a flyer, but I do have some interest in Kuminga on the Warriors side. Is there anyone else you're looking at the Warriors side?
I like Gary Payton. He played about 19, 20 minutes, and he was able to come in and just do a lot of small little things that the Warriors are looking for. The rebounding, the defense, and to a point, you stop playing Payton because you realize that the offense is a lot more worth the defense. And I think that's why Sacramento switched off from Davion Mitchell, because the defense just wasn't worth the offense. And offensively, they were just cooking. So I think it's a great play to maybe throw Gary Payton in there. Maybe he gets a little bit more minutes and he still gets the rebounds for you. And the steals upside is amazing. Plays great defense. And if you want to shut down someone on the offensive end, whether that be Malik Monk, De'Aaron Fox, whether it be Kevin Herter, anybody, he's going to do it. He's going to go out there and just make his minutes worth it.
I like that call, man. I actually didn't even notice that he played so many minutes last one. I'm trying to work him into my FanDuel lineup now. He's 4,200 on FanDuel. I think he's a similar price on DraftKings as well.
He's
4,100. Yeah, so a little bit cheaper on DraftKings, but I do like him on both sites here. That's a good call, man. Let me see if I can work him in. But while I'm doing that, I will mention, for me, for the King side, you already mentioned Huerter. I mean, obviously looking for a bigger game from him from the shooting department, just 3 of 12 from the field and 0 of 5 from distance. That's just absurd. He's not going to go without a 3-pointer in this one. There's no way. So absolutely like him here. Obviously, you've got Sabonis, who is only 9-3, and it's against the Warriors. I'm projecting him. I've got a bet on him actually on DraftKings to get 20 plus rebounds at plus 950 odds. I think he can absolutely get there. He's done that in 4
yeah,
games.
He can.
He's done that in 4 games this season, and one of them was against the Warriors, Arnold. So,
Nice.
Obviously the Warriors, they don't have. Again, I'm just going to mention the same thing I did last time. No real center. Kevon Looney's basically a glorified center. He's like a small power forward that's playing center for them. So I just like him to grab a whole bunch of boards here. Again, I don't know how many points he's going to score. He's probably going to get more assists than he did last game, though. But how are you feeling about Sabonis and De'Aaron Fox over here?
Yeah, so I'll just talk about De'Aaron Fox for a little bit. I think De'Aaron Fox is a great play. I think 8.5 is a good price point for him. He's going to go out there. He's going to take a bunch of shots, and he's just going to get the offense going. I mean, someone gets it going, it's always going to be Fox. But I want to touch on Sabonis just a little bit more. Earlier, you asked me who I was looking at. If it wasn't Embiid, it's Sabonis. Sabonis, this guy is a 10.5 player. He's not a 9.3 player. He's a 10.5 player. And he's at 9.3. And you got to take advantage, like I said earlier, you got to take advantage of these price points being so low. He's going to get more assists. He only had, 3 or 4, I believe, maybe even less. Honestly, 2 assists, 16 rebounds, 12 points. The Warriors allowed him space, and it was towards the free throw line, and he was taking a couple shots, and they weren't going in. It's just one of those nights where you just have a bad shooting night. I don't think he ever has a shooting night or bad shooting night twice in a row. I think he comes in and he just gets the shot going. So I do think he probably scores about 20-ish points. If he go for 20 rebounds, I'm all for it. He was the leading rebounder in the NBA this year. But no, I think he comes in. I think he's at a great price. I think you're going to get the points, rebounds, and assists from him, and he's going to be on the floor all the time. He just does so much for the Kings, and Kings came out in a win and with a game that he wasn't really the best player, maybe not even third best.
Yeah, I'm rolling with De'Aaron Fox on the FanDuel side, but on DraftKings, I'm not playing any of those guys. I'm kind of worried a little bit about the Warriors just kind of making a statement game out of this one. I don't know if that's going to happen. One thing that's nice, though, that we can kind of work with is that, in the playoffs, teams make adjustments from game to game, especially when they lose by a good margin. But since that game was so close, we can expect a very similar rotation here. There might be some fringe guys like a Gary Payton or a Kuminga or something like that gets a few extra minutes or a few less minutes. That does definitely happen. But for the most part, those guys that got 20 plus minutes, they're pretty much locks here. So that's why I love that Gary Payton call on your side here, because I think he played 20 minutes in the first one. I don't see any reason he's not going to do the same thing in this one. So I think they will stick with him here. So that's a good call. We're about 2 minutes here to lock. If you guys haven't already, please do go ahead and like and subscribe. Obviously, if you subscribe, you'll get notified every single time we go live. If you like this video, it'll help us reach more eyes and more ears, which we absolutely need to have happen. I swung and missed a little bit in those first couple of playoff live streams we've done here, Arnold. So I'm sorry about that, guys, but hopefully we turn this thing around. I'm feeling this one. Is there anyone else that we haven't mentioned, though, that you're kind of in your player pool? I do have one here that I want to talk about, and it's on FanDuel. I'm looking at Joe Harris at 3,900. He got like 14 minutes in that first game, I believe. Let me see here. 14 minutes. Again, a lot of those people were sitting in that fourth quarter, so he could end up getting 15, 16, 17 minutes, and I'd be pretty happy with that at 3,900 for Joe Harris. I mean, if the guy gets hot, we know he's an absolute three-point shooting stud. So that's a guy on FanDuel I'm looking at. I'm not necessarily looking at him on DraftKings. Let me see what his price is on DraftKings. Joe Harris, he's 3,600, so pretty decent price range there as well. But I think Seth Curry is the guy I'm looking at there, because Seth Curry on FanDuel's priced up. So I'd rather have Joe Harris. You feel the same way?
Yeah, I think I agree with that. I agree with that, definitely. Because the thing is that, like, Brooklyn, they were in a blowout in the third quarter. They didn't play it the same, the right amount of minutes. These guys are going to get more minutes this time around. I don't think this is a blowout. I think everybody just gets the run in, and Joe Harris, Seth Curry, both of those guys should be some good plays.
I like it, man. Well, we are just about 40 seconds here till lock. We're gonna stick around and let you guys know, what we're seeing as far as like ownership for these guys. Should be quite a bit of guys we're looking at, because it's only 2 games. So probably about half my rosters on both sites will be locked at that point. So we'll be able to see what that's looking like. But good call again on that Gary Payton to the second. I think he will be pretty highly owned. What are you projecting for ownership for that guy? I know we don't really have like exact numbers or anything like that, but do you think he's going to be a highly owned guy, or are people going to overlook him like I did?
I don't know, man. Definitely, there could be an overlook, especially when it comes to the Warrior side, because there's so many players you could play on that side. Like, there's so many directions you could go with. There's so many narratives. So there might be a point where you're playing like 3 to 4 guys, and one of those guys just isn't Gary Payton. So
Yeah.
I think it could be around the 20 or 30%. I mean, we'll see. We'll see what happens.
We will see, because we're we won't see this right now because obviously that's not the game locking right now. We're gonna have the early game locking, but we did just have a lock just happen. So I'm refreshing my page now to see if I can get some ownership data for you guys. I'm just gonna look at my highest priced GPP here that I'm in, and just take a look. Let's see. I've got this is FanDuel. I always do FanDuel first. It tends to load faster. D'Anthony Melton, 30.6% owned at that 4,500 price tag. That 4,600. Sorry, that doesn't necessarily surprise me a lot. I think he was a good target on both sides, so that's pretty good. Joe Harris only 1.8% owned. I like that a whole lot, man. Daron Sharp only 8.3% owned on FanDuel. So we're cooking here. I'm hoping the Brooklyn Nets keep this close, and I'm hoping those bench guys can have a hand in that. And then we've got Joel Embiid. This is a little surprising to me, Arnold. 21.2% owned only in my GPP.
Interesting.
This is for FanDuel. He was 11-4, so he was a little bit priced up there. Maybe people were off of him for that reason. But if this game stays close, man, he's the one guy I think on both games in both teams that will break the slate. He's the guy that can go off for a huge line. So it surprises me a little bit. How are you feeling about that?
Yeah, that surprised me a lot, honestly. I thought the ownership was going to be high up there. I mean, if there's a chance to Joel Embiid, there's a chance that you might just win.
Yeah, that's I'm liking that, man. The one GPP I did super well, and I had Jokic at like 5% ownership. So this is like reading the same way to me. So I'm pretty excited about that. Anyone that you're seeing that you've got on either site?
Yeah, so I have Maxey at 20. I have Claxton at 14. That was another guy that I kind of went through because I just think you got to throw someone out there. And if he gets into foul trouble, it kind of just backfires a little bit. But if he doesn't get into foul trouble, which is just much as a possibility, he could definitely take over. And now that you're seeing Joel Embiid at 20%, I'm just like, because Claxton at 14. But it is what it is. Cam Johnson at 25. And that's it. That's all I have right now. Everything else is on the other slate.
All good. Yeah, I'm looking at DK now. I've got a couple. I've just got 2 entries on DK. I'm going pretty light today, but 2 game slates, I'm just not super into them. Hopefully, we get another 4 game slate here before it's all said and done. But Mikal Bridges is 28.6% owned. No surprise there. Pretty popular. I think he's going to go off and have a good game. Daron Sharp, 12.9% owned. That's a little higher than I would have thought. I would have thought a bit more in like the 7, 8%, 9% range. So yeah. I'm a little bit surprised by that. People must be on to him, so that's okay. They're probably just looking at his box score from the last one where he got minutes. Seth Curry, Seth Curry, 5.8%. Okay, that's fine. I'm neither surprised by that. I thought it would be a little bit higher, maybe, but that's okay. 11.7% for D'Anthony Melton is what I'm seeing in my GPP, which that's good. I like that. 4,500 is price tag on DK. I think that's lower than I thought it would be for sure. He was like 20% owned or something like that on FanDuel. I said, let's see. Here he is. He's 30.6%. So yeah, a little low there in DK. That surprised me a little bit there. Joel Embiid again, 26.9%. Again, that just surprises me. I'm surprised that so many people have faded Joel on this slate. So maybe they're all projecting a bonus. Yeah, maybe they're all projecting a blowout and they're all going to bonus. Yeah, maybe that's what it is. Anyone else?
We'll see what happens. No, you already mentioned Seth Curry, right?
I sure did.
6.6. Yeah.
All right. Well, that's going to do it for us, guys. We are going to lock that in and hopefully win a bunch of money for everybody out there. If you did like the video, go ahead and subscribe, give us some love there. But we will chat with you guys for the next slate. And Arnold, thanks for hopping on. You can follow him on Twitter there. You can follow me on Twitter here. But yeah, we will see you guys next time. Until then, go get that money.